that folks ought to have the opportunity in a democratic society to be who they are. I think the GLLU has demonstrated its effectiveness in, one, getting to know the issues affecting the GLBT community. I think it's been very effective in establishing those relationships and addressing issues, especially looking at hate crimes and the underlying reasons for those hate crimes. So not only will I retain the gay and lesbian liaison unit, I want to hire a sergeant who will really be responsible for managing that unit or have one deployed there. In addition to that, I do support sensitivity training, but I don't think it should be one or the other. I think it should be both. In fact, I think the gay and lesbian liaison unit really ought to be the place where we develop the expertise, retain the expertise, and see that they spearhead the training of other officers in conjunction with the Office of LGBT Affairs. I'm sure they would say that because they're his supporters. I have been a consistent supporter of the GLBT community. I've been a consistent supporter of focusing on an issue which we know affects the GLBT community, that is HIV, AIDS. I can't remember the last time I missed participating in the Pride Parade. I can't remember the last time I wasn't involved in the Black Pride activities. I've been a consistent supporter, so it's understandable that his supporters would make a statement like that, but they're wrong. I've been very clear about my support, my unequivocal support for marriage equality. And frankly, there are some people who have a very different position, and some who've been supporters of mine in the past. But I have stood strong, I've stood fast, and I will continue to do that in the belief that the council clearly had the authority as elected representatives of the people, that we have a very strong human rights law in the District of Columbia that makes it clear that we shouldn't put anything out before the people that would actually take rights away from folks, which is in fact what would be done, and that's been corroborated by the courts. So I would continue to be as strong as I have been in the past in supporting marriage equality. Oh, I think it could well be. I think this is an acrimonious issue. I think we're fortunate that it hasn't been more acrimonious than it probably could be. It's clear that all along the way, every step of the way, that the support has been there for moving forward with this issue. But I don't think that that will stop those who are opposed to it. You know, certainly, I guess, certainly a victory in California, where the proposition there was not supported, by the courts. I think we're in the forefront of change, and what's going on here, I think eventually will move across the country, and I think there will come a day in this nation where people will, raise questions about what it's all about. First of all, I've been a very strong. as a director of human services, I was the director that created the first agency on HIV/AIDS. I was also the director of human services when we created the first 5-year strategic plan. So I have a track record that long predates this administration for support of this issue. As a council member in Ward 7, I was responsible for developing what initially was called the Ward 7 initiative, then it became East of the River initiative, and now is the Effie Berry initiative, which focuses on putting more resources into East of the River communities where the epidemic is growing, or pandemic is growing the fastest. One of the ideas behind this was to build the capacity of organizations that are not traditionally known as HIV/AIDS agencies, so that we increase the arsenal of organizations that are focusing on this. So I frankly would build on the initiatives that I have been a proponent, architect of, advocate for, long predating this administration. We don't have a permanent AIDS, a hospice director at this stage. I'd get the best person we possibly can get into that job and make it clear that it is a priority of the Gray administration. I'd work more with our traditional institutions. We need to do more in our schools to educate our kids. As we talk about health issues in the schools, we need to help kids understand what the virus is, how it's transmitted, and the reality that is beyond, way beyond at this stage, this old, the old saw of, men having sex with men. It's well beyond that. There's heterosexual transmission at this stage. We've got people coming out of correctional institutions who return to relationships and transmitting the virus. IV drug use. I was a huge proponent of condom distribution as well as needle distribution as the director of the Department of Human Services. We were foreclosed for many years from funding a needle distribution program in the city with public dollars because of congressional interference with our efforts here in the city. We've now gotten past that, and we need to have the most aggressive needle exchange, needle distribution program we can. It's been proven to work in cities across America. I think we may have as many as 250 cities now that have needle exchange programs. We were one of the early ones. We had to do it through Prevention Works, which was a privately supported effort. So much of what I would support, Lou, frankly, represents those things that I have been doing for years and have been in the forefront of and long predate this administration's efforts. Some of what this administration is doing is building upon things that I started. Well, I would invite them to look at my record, look at my track record that long predates even my service as a council member. Or look at my record as a council member. It's one of the issues that has been a high level of priority for me, focusing specifically, for example, on HIV/AIDS issues, which we know disproportionately for many years affected the GLBT community, and working to try to make sure that we put dollars, that we organized an agency to focus on this, that we had a 5-year strategic plan, that we had leadership that was really focused on this issue, and that we went after federal resources in order to augment, what we were investing here in the District of Columbia. I've been a huge supporter in stamping out hate crimes in the city, and I've been at many events and many activities involving the GLBT community, and I will continue to do that. So, in me, people have a supporter. They have somebody who has a track record of being good on these issues, and I don't intend to deviate from that.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.